Hello, and welcome to Mild and Lazy Guys podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Matt.
I'm Andrew.
And on today's episode, we're back with our normal bag of goodies. We've got items in the news desk, Mount Rushmore. This week, we're talking about our favorite restaurant sauces. We're back with Pick Your Poison, and we're going to review the 1994 classic Heavyweights. Disney, put out by Disney. We're staying on the Disney theme, so Heavyweights and Little Giants tied. So we broke the tie, and we went with Heavyweights. And then we're going to wrap it up with what are we watching and what are we listening to. But before I get started, I want to ask you to please follow us on Instagram at Mild and Lazy, and leave us a like and review on Apple Podcast if you could. So what have you been up to, man?
Well, we got a puppy.
Ooh, a new pups. Maybe this one will like me.
Maybe this one's. She seems really playful. It's a girl. It's like a shepherd collie mix. Like we're not real sure because it was. So what happened?
Whoa,
that was weird. So what happened was Saturday at Claire's work at the Mosaic Hideaway. They had an event for other small businesses and vendors, and food truck was out, and Tales of Hope, which is an adoption agency for cats and dogs. It's where we got Hank, actually. Was Tales from Hope. Hank's right here. Tales of Hope, and there was like a litter of these 5 dogs, like all from the same litter, and I think 3 got adopted that day, and Claire was just like in love with this other one. It had like this pretty blue eye, like one pretty blue eye, and it was just the most docile, like sweet dog. All the other ones were like jumping on each other and acting like idiots. She's like, this dog was just sitting there, minding its business, being sweet. And she sent me pictures, and I knew she had puppy fever. And then, like, later on that night, I just shot her a text. I was like, because she was already, like, in bed asleep. And I was like, fuck it, let's get this dog. So we had to figure out all the paperwork. And then Monday, we went back to, we met up at Claire's shop and brought her home. You have a little sleepover period. But before we even brought her home, like, we went to Target and we bought, like, a puppy bed, a dog bed.
So
we bought treats. Yeah, we spent over $100 on various other things, but the vast majority was for that dog, the toys, the bones, the food, the collar and leash. Like, I was like, it was already an investment, and brought her home. She gets along okay with our dogs. Our dogs are just so little and just like shitheads at times. And it's just nice to have a dog that's like, that you can go on a walk with, and you don't have to worry about like stepping on in the middle of the night and killing. Because our dogs are like the size of like a New York City rat. And you can't walk them. You can't really do anything with them. And I really wanted this dog for like Ellie to grow up with. Like they go out and they play in the backyard. We're teaching her how to play fetch. And she was already house trained. Trying not to give her too much human food just because we don't need another beggar. But so we settled on the name Dolly, actually.
Was Ellie heavily
Ellie
involved?
was the main influence in that because this period of time for Ellie, she loves Dolly Parton. Like, Jolene and I Will Always Love You are her only 2 songs.
It could be worse. Like, she could pick, like, worse music.
Yeah.
To be infatuated with.
That's true. I mean, she has a very eclectic mix of music. Like, she loves Jimmy Cliff and Grateful Dead and Lady Gaga.
She's like her dad.
Yeah. I was like, those are, like, all her favorite songs. Like, she has her own playlist, and that's all she wants to listen to. But, so we went with Dolly, which makes us as a family just look like big Dolly Parton fans because one of our dogs is named Jolene.
Yep.
And it's not after that song. We just like the name Jolene, and we've had that dog for over 10 years. So now we have Jolene and we have Dolly and Hank, of course. But yeah, added a new member to the family. She wasn't here this time because Claire went to our sister's house. She left me, man. It's finally over. She's had enough. She made me pick between this and the podcast. So we're here recording on a Thursday night, and it's nothing but swinging dicks.
I'm just, for a backstory, I've been coming over to Andrew's house for a couple years now and doing the podcast for 6-8 months now. And these dogs, I've never pet them. Ever.
They won't let you.
They won't let me.
No.
They bark their heads off. Like, they should know me by now.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just really cool that you're going to have an animal that when I come over, acknowledges me.
She'll play with you. She'll let you pet her. She's a very sweet
because
dog.
when you come to my house, you're like Bruce Almighty.
Yeah.
Like all my animals are all over you. You've got one in your lap, one on your side, one at your feet, cat up on your shoulder.
Living the dream at your house.
Yeah.
I get the charcuterie board from your wife, and I get like all the animal love from, and then Landry wants to like sit next to me.
Yeah,
I'm like a king in your house, man. Yeah. It's amazing. I get better treatment at your house than my house.
So hopefully this dog, will acknowledge me and let me love on it. Because I just want to tell, I'm like Hank and Jolene, like if you knew how much I love dogs, like you would love me. They just won't let me in.
But next time, and we're excited to like just take her out to Lions Park where it's just nothing but open field and let her just,
for sure.
Because she's got that puppy energy, and we have to take her on walks every day, and she's just jumping and just up and down like a fucking idiot, and it's adorable.
Awesome.
Yeah.
No, that's awesome. That's cool. Well, I had one of those proud dad moments today on the way home. I went and picked up Landry from school, and he's really into like trucks, like especially my truck. Like he calls it his truck. He's like, that's my truck. And I was tossing around the idea of trading it in a while back, and he's like, he got emotional. He's like, no, Dad, I don't want you to trade in my truck. Like that's our truck. So we were at like a 4-way stop, and a truck was on our left, and he was turning in front of us, and they had a camper shell in the back. He's like, Daddy, that's not a truck. I was like, why isn't it a truck? Well, he put the thing on the back. That technically makes it a car. And I was like, very good, son. Because I don't like camper shells. I don't see the point. Like, you just buy an SUV. Like, I don't know. Camper shell, they look ugly.
Especially when they're like, they don't even match the colors. I've seen some that's like, at least get the same color.
It was a blue truck with a white camper shell.
That's fucking stupid.
And then Landry was like, that's not a truck. That's a car. I'm like, good job, son. And then I had another father moment where I had to hold back laughter. Like, he said something so funny. So Lauren, we were eating dinner before I came over, and Lauren makes spaghetti. She makes really good spaghetti. Like, she doesn't do like ragu out of a jar. Like, she simmers the tomatoes.
Damn.
The whole 9 yards. Fresh onion, fresh garlic. Like, she makes it from scratch.
I grew up on ragu, so I would love to have actual
She does it from scratch, and it's usually on point. Well, I don't know what happened tonight. I don't know if she was in a hurry, maybe because she knew I had to come over here and record this or what, but she's like, man, my spaghetti's really off. And I've been married long enough to know I just don't say anything.
It's a trap.
I don't say anything. Yeah. I'm like, no, babe, it's fine.
And you just tell her, you are so pretty.
Yeah, and Landry, God bless him, he was sitting there, and like we were up at the bar. We have like a bar top on our island, and me and him were facing with our backs toward Lauren, and Lauren, she said, I don't know, it's off, it doesn't taste that good. And Landry didn't break stride. He was eating his pizza, didn't break stride. He said, well, maybe you need cookie lessons, Mom.
Oh, shit.
And it took everything I had not to just laugh. And then Lauren started laughing, and then I started laughing. Landry started laughing. And, dude, it was like he didn't break stride. He had the timing and everything. He was like, no, maybe you need lessons, Mom.
He accidentally said the funniest thing he's ever said.
It was so awesome.
I love it.
So awesome. But, yeah, so couple funny dad moments.
Those are the best, kind of like when your kid accidentally says something hilarious and you just lose it because they're just like, oh, I guess that worked. Like, maybe I'll say something like that again.
Has Ellie cussed yet?
Yeah, but I'm just like, no, like we don't say that.
Okay, well,
it's like little adorable words because
they overhear.
Yeah,
like us,
I know. I get in trouble for that. Especially from my mom and from
wait until
Claire.
She uses it like in context, like perfectly.
Yeah,
like,
that's when I'm in trouble.
Then you're gonna die laughing. Because sometimes
like if they go, what the fuck is that? Yeah. Then I'm like, that. Yeah, exactly. You're right. Yeah. When they use it perfectly like that,
and I'm like,
and they like, that's what you're thinking, and they say
technically that's right, but you can't say.
Yeah, that was hilarious, but don't say that again. At least around your mom.
I try to. I don't tell them they're bad words. I'm like, hey, that's an adult word. Like that adult. That's something we use. Little kids can't say that.
Exactly. My parents still tell me about how when I was little, I asked them how old I had to be before I can start cussing. I guess I was just so ready. And they used to tell me those are adult words. I was like, well, how old when can I use them? How old do I have to be? And they're probably, 21 or something. But
yeah.
I said, fuck that. Fuck you. No, I love you guys.
All right. But anything else? Just work and normal?
Yeah. I mean, we had a good day. Good day Monday. That all happened on Monday. Mondays are the best, man. We take care of the house. Off? Yeah, we're all off. Yep. Claire's shop's closed on Mondays, and then we always go get snow cones. I would recommend the Darkwing Duck. I've discovered that is the greatest snow cone, and you get to be the coolest guy in the stand when they call out the Darkwing Duck, and you walk up there.
Can you give me a flavor profile?
It's half coconut, half grape, and you can add cream for 50 cents.
Okay, it's not bad.
It's delicious, actually. It's more than not bad. It's
the
best.
I am super conservative when it comes to, and maybe this will be a Mount Rushmore, but I'm super conservative and kind of old school when it comes to snow cone flavors.
You just get straight ice.
Strawberry.
Oh. I got pickle juice for years.
Ugh.
I know that was such a terrible choice. I don't know
And
why I
love
did
pickles.
that. I do too, but not pickled. It gives me heartburn, dude. I'm getting so old. Like I've talked about this before about getting up in the middle of the night to go and pee and just eating Tums.
So it was
That's
kind of
my
a
night
staple
routine.
of our, like when we're at a draft or we're watching a game or whatever, and we're drinking together. We'd always follow our shots of whiskey with pickle juice.
Mm-hmm.
Is that an out for you now? Or
I could still chase it like that, but it's just when you go to get a snow cone, there's just better options. Is I guess what I'm saying, other than pickle juice.
And like a good 8 or 10 ounces of it, I can just imagine what that does to your.
Oh, it destroys
tum-tum.
me. Yeah.
Ugh.
But anyways, the Darkwing Duck, and like I said, you get to be
okay.
then they call that out, and you just walk up out of the shadows
All
like
right.
like the
Like the
true
Darkwing.
badass. Yeah, exactly.
All right, I may have to keep that in mind next time I go to.
Yeah, if you go to
swing
the one by Taco Suave,
Yeah.
off 77, that's the best one.
Yeah.
It might be one of the only ones actually.
No, I think there's one down at the end of 77, like by what is that, Bachelor? Down there, kind of where the Whataburger and Sonic and all that by Atwoods.
There used to be one on
oh.
Panorama. It was like Ozzy's.
Yeah.
Ozzy shit. Dude, that was the best. It was like in a little house.
Yeah.
Not even a house. It was like one of those
It's like a shed.
I'm pretty sure they closed down though. Because I had a membership card and they would punch it for you. And I was like so close to getting that free snow cone.
That they shut it
and then they shut it down. Yeah, because they had the best like cream filling. I don't know what it's called, It's like
just
cream.
cream, yeah.
It was the shit. And yeah, half coconut, half grape.
All right, I'll
That's
keep
it.
that.
That was the highlight of my week. Better than getting a puppy.
Because usually we go eat Taco Suave, and then we'll just walk
over there.
and
Perfect.
Tacos and snow cones. I mean, it's a good summer evening.
What's more American than that?
It's a great summer evening. If you're ever in Waxahachie, go see Taco Suave. They have great food. All right. So now that we're done with that, let's get into the news desk. All right, and I think I've got the first story. The title reads, and this is from Mashable.com, and it was written by Caitlin Welsh, and the headline reads, Apple will engrave fart and dick on your new AirTags, but not poop. And in case you don't know what an AirTag is, it's kind of Apple's version of the Tile. It's like a Tile. That's the brand. That's the company, Tile. And it's a little key, or not a key, but it's like a little tag that you can stick on the back of things, and you can track it through the app. So in case you ever lose it, so people put them on wallets and phones and keys and all kinds of stuff. But Apple, of course, is putting out their version. And the headline and the story reads, Apple finally announced its Tile Killer product at Tuesday's event. And not a moment too soon, as everyone's probably a little out of practice when it comes to the whole leaving the house with everything you need thing after a year indoors. AirTags are stainless steel buttons a bit over an inch in diameter that you can throw into a bag or attach to a keychain style holder in order to track your stuff using Bluetooth and your iPhone's built-in features. So it continues. The AirTags will also come with the ability to add up to 4 engraved characters on the front face. Now, obviously, these are an extra handy way of telling your multiple AirTags apart on top of the iPhone's pairing features. But just like Apple's other engravable products, there's also the ability to have a little fun with your personalization, within reason, of course. So, as with AirPod case engraving, there are a few emoji combos that are out of bounds. Certain animals followed by the poop emoji are officially too rude, so you can't nickname your AirTags horse shit or dog shit or pig shit or bullshit. You can say shit horse, however. Chicken shit is fine, as are the shits of non-humanoid options: alien, unicorn, ghost, robot, cat, alien, skull, tiger, dragon, monkey, sheep, bunny, snake, mouse, and bear. All those with shit on the end are cool. So things you can't put on there: shit, piss, fuck, and the C-bomb. So cunt. See you next Tuesday or out.
I like how you say the C-bomb and then you say the C word.
I read it, but that's one of my go-to words. So I let it fly. I don't care. You can engrave your air tag with fart, bum, butt, or even anal, as well as pee, but not ass, arse, poop, or poo.
So you can do anal, but not arse.
Yes. You can't put poop, though, but you can go with the classic 8008.
Oh, yeah. There's a way around.
So if you can't put dick, though.
But you can do cock.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
That makes no
Sex,
sense.
cock, peen, vag, bush, muff, pube,
I like peen.
and quim are okay, but twat, tit, clit, jizz, and slut are not. Although SLVT does work.
Imagine going to journalism school and then writing this article.
You spent 4 or 5 years and $100,000.
Went to like Northwestern, like top of your class, and you're writing how you can put anal on your tag, but not ours.
So, there, in case any of you guys were wondering, and you're gonna,
Yeah, I didn't even know what a tile was, and you had explained it to me. What I got out of it was that a company valued at $1 trillion is now just like squashing its competition by taking their product and putting their name on it.
yeah.
Which I hate to see, but it's very capitalist of them. Very Apple of them.
So, I mean, you can put alien shit on your, or I guess an alien emoji followed by a poop emoji.
Well,
but you can't put dick.
Can other people have that tag, or once it yours, is that like your...
No, I'm sure you can personalize them, whatever. You know, like just like an
You just want to be more creative.
Like back in the day, like on your when they made iPods. Like I'm sure some.
I never had one, man.
Yeah, I had one when they were more affordable, not when they were cool.
I was rocking the Walkman.
I had a Zune.
That sounds so familiar. Wasn't that was an MP3 player? Wasn't
Yeah,
it?
but it was like the the
Great Value brand.
It was like a Microsoft product, I think maybe. But it was like a Windows version, basically, of a...
I would love to look at your... Was it Zoom?
Zune, Z-U-N-E.
I would love to see your Zune playlist right now, like what was all on there from 2005
man.
or whatever.
Probably like a bunch of emo.
Yeah, I was thinking Taking Back Sunday,
The Circa.
Yeah.
Just
all still good music,
all
though,
still
if you ask
good.
me.
All
I
still
would
good.
totally play that. Like if you showed up to a party and you're like, hey, I found my old Zune, and you hooked it up, you're like, yeah, let's play this all night. Like, that's cool with me.
No, it's all good.
I love high school jams like that.
All right, what do you got for us?
This one comes from Bloody Disgusting, and it's David Fincher might get back to hunting mines again soon. It's been nearly 2 years since the last season of Mindhunter arrived on Netflix, a span of time that's seen God knows how many of our minds frolicking free through the forests, blissfully unhunted. But this idealistic situation may soon come to an end. Per Small Screen, a source has apparently reported that series creator David Fincher and Netflix have re-entered talks to restart the show, meaning we might soon be living through the desaturated horrors of mine-hunting season all over again. This despite Fincher expressing that not too long ago a pretty general sense of burnout on the show about the development of the serial killer hunting methodologies by the FBI. Writing on the series' second season was famously pretty fraught, with almost all of the original batch of scripts thrown out and retooled under Fincher's close supervision. Fincher also made it clear that he was just damn tired of the grind of TV production, especially in light of his desire to go get his Mank on, which he's now done. That's a movie he made that's nominated for like 12 Oscars. Yeah, like I said, it's to Oscar-nominated success, which might help explain why talks have reportedly resumed. So he went out and made like this movie, and like I said, it's nominated for all types of awards. Maybe got his mojo back, but of course there are also some hard practicalities that might make the old BSU crew hard to reassemble, regardless of desire. For one thing, there's the simple fact that the series was always quite a bit more expensive than its viewership numbers apparently justified, something Fincher himself acknowledged. There's also the more immediate but no less thorny fact that the show's cast, including Jonathan Groff, that's Holt, I didn't know his last name was McCallany, and Anna Torv, that was the lady on their unit with them, have all been released from their contract for quite some time. Still, though, Netflix has never been willing to call Mindhunter dead. Anyway, given how critically well it was received, 2021's a lot closer than the 5 years maybe the streamer once posited as a potential return date. But when the minds are ripe, sometimes you've got to be ready to hunt. So that was one of our favorite shows. I'm sure lots, other people would agree. It was like one of the best shows Netflix put out in a long time. And
so one thing before it flies out of my brain, one thing kind of struck me about that article is like, they said it was too expensive, based on the audience. It's kind of crazy that it didn't have a big audience, given that true crime is such a big deal.
Yeah, the whole murder porn, like people love that.
Well, true crime is like one of the most. I think it is the most popular podcast genre.
Yeah, I could see that.
And all the stuff that ID puts out, and Dateline has been running for.
Yeah, there's basically TV
years.
networks dedicated to it. Like ID's like dedicated to that.
And this
genre.
was one of the better representations of true crime.
Oh,
I mean, it was grit. I mean, for God's sakes, in the first scene, a guy blows his head off with a shotgun, naked. I believe he was naked. It's really good. It's really well done. Really, obviously, it's real well written. Fincher is amazing, and it's just really good. And they're building up to one of my favorite serial killers.
Oh yeah, we were talking about doing that as a Mount Rushmore serial killers.
They're building up over 2 seasons to BTK, and it got because you can't. He can see. I've got goosebumps thinking about it.
You got dead skin on there, dude. You got sunburn.
Yeah, I got burnt 2 weeks ago. But yeah, they were building up to BTK, dropping in like every 3rd or 4th episode, like at the beginning and end of the episode, they were dropping in these little vignettes of behind the scenes of BTK. And they've just, it's a really good show. So I hope it comes back.
To me, it was one of the best well-made shows, like, of whenever the year it came out, like, it was one of the best shows of that year.
Mm-hmm.
But I get, like they said, if the numbers just weren't there, and I could see it having it, because it's so well-made, it costs a lot of money to have that production value. So I guess that was their justification, and the fact that he just kind of got burnt out, because I bet making a TV series, especially when you're, like, a perfectionist like that, is way more difficult than making just a 2.5-hour movie. Because that series would have been, 10 hours? It's like 5 movies in one. So I bet the grind's a lot. It got to him, and then, like I said, he got to make his movie Mank, which is on Netflix, and you could watch it. But
and I think the subject matter for a lot of those guys it wears on you.
You probably look at a lot of like evidence and pictures.
Yeah, and I talked about Criminal Minds last week, but they had an actor on seasons like 1 through 5 who was kind of like the head of they call it the BAU, which is basically the same unit.
Yeah, just a different acronym.
Just a different acronym,
thing.
yeah. And then the actor did an interview several years later saying just how hard it was to cover that material and portray that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
and
day in and day out.
He kind of went off on America on like why or how we kind of get off and enjoy this kind of stuff.
Oh, we definitely glorify killers and terrible people. Like, what I'm listening to right now, I'll talk about it. Like, I've just been listening to just terrible people and terrible situations. But to me, it's always fascinated me.
It's it's totally fascinating to me.
Those are the books I read growing up, the shows I watch, and podcasts I listen to now. There's, same concept, same topics, but...
No, I agree. I mean, it's got to be hard to just be immersed in that world.
Oh yeah,
but I hope it comes back because it was seriously one of my favorite shows.
Yeah, me too. You sent me the link when it came back, and I hope it comes true. I know it would probably be, even if they started soon, it'd probably be 2022 before it comes out. But just to have those wheels turning is good news for me.
Yep. All right. So last thing before we get out, and we'll get out of the news desk, and we'll just touch on it just briefly. But did you happen to catch any of the Jake Paul Paul-Askren fight?
Nope. I heard a little about it. Was it pay-per-view? It had to be, right? That's how they make money?
Yeah. Yeah, they charged. I think they sold like 1.5 or 2 million like purchases.
Oh, wow. And what are they can't be like Mayweather money.
No, I don't think it's Mayweather money.
It's probably like 20 or 30 bucks.
I didn't catch, but...
Did they do a whole ticket? Like, was it just them two, or was there other people?
Okay, I think there was like one other fight. There was one other fight, and then it was a complete fucking shit show, dude. They had Justin Bieber there doing a concert, which, whatever, that was the least shit show of it. They had, Pete Davidson kind of running commentary, and it was a shit show. They had Snoop Dogg there, which Snoop Dogg, and especially like in this realm, in this arena, like when he's doing fight commentary, like because he had done it before, and it made a bunch of news, and it went viral. Snoop Dogg is like salt. Like on food, like a little bit of salt goes a long way, but if you put too much salt in your food, it ruins it. And Snoop Dogg was salt. Like, man, it was just too much.
I did not think there'd be a Snoop Dogg salt analogy in this, but that worked out nice. I totally get what you're saying. Too much salt ruins it.
And they had Oscar De La Hoya on there on all the cocaine. Like, he was
wearing the panties
so high. Like, he did all the cocaine before he went on that broadcast. All that aside, it was a shit show. Jake Paul knocked out Ben Askren in a minute and a half.
Did he knock? Oh, I was going to say it was I forgot it's not an MMA. It's a straight boxing.
It's a straight boxing, and it wasn't. They shouldn't have called the fight because he probably should have got an 8 count because he did get up. Ben Askren did get up. And for those of you who don't know, Ben Askren, he's fought in UFC, he's fought in Bellator, and he's fought in one other. He's fought in the 3 biggest mixed martial arts kind of promoters in the world, and he's a Hall of Famer in 2 of them. He got to UFC late, and then he retired. He had hip surgery. He came out of retirement for this fight. It's a step up from what he's fought, but it's still not a straight boxer. I think Jake Paul now, and from everybody I kind of follow and kind of things I've watched, like, everybody says he's got something. Like, apparently he was a hell of an athlete in high school. He was a wrestler. Everybody says, like, his footwork, his technique, the power, it's all kind of there. The vision, it's all there. Now, for me, what makes it interesting is, like, where's he going to go next?
Straight to hell.
I don't like him personally. Like, I
can't stand him. Either of them.
Yeah, I think, say what you will. I'm just talking about strictly, like, fighting. And
I would love to see him, like, in a real fight. Like, I don't know who is a good comp for him. But yeah, I want, and he will get paid to get that fight. But I would love to see him just get knocked out, even if he gets paid.
Well, the Mayweather thing, I think, is on the table now. It may be 2 or 3 fights from now, but I think it's on the table. And he'll lose that fight, but he's also probably going to make
that would be such a boring fight.
10 or 15 million.
Yeah, he'd make a ton of money, and Mayweather would make 300 million.
Yeah, so
knowing his contract.
But I didn't know if you caught that, if you saw any highlights. I mean, say what you want about his YouTube career and what he stands for, but I think apparently the kid can box. But it'll be interesting kind of follow.
Well, he fought a rapper, a 5'7" Nate Robinson, and a guy coming off hip replacement. So he might can box, but like you said, I want to see that step up.
I think now, like, okay, the novelty's worn off. Like, you can beat people who aren't boxers. Now I want to see you fight boxers and come with that same bravado.
Yeah.
And
somebody that's trained and like somebody that just has like a burning hatred for him.
I think the next kind of rumored fight is Dylan Dennis, and Dylan Dennis is a active UFC fighter.
He's a UFC.
But he can strike.
Fight these boxers,
but he can strike. Like, he can stand up. Dylan Dennis can stand up and strike with you. Ben Askren, he was an Olympian, first of all. I think he was either judo or wrestler. But he didn't have much of a strike game. That's why this was a...
Yeah, and he's probably so tempted to just like take him down, and
that's why
stay on your
that's
feet
why this was kind of a soft kind of landing spot for Jake Paul. Why it was a good... Yeah, because he can say, he's a professional fighter. But striking was not his forte. It was not his strength. When he fought, he wanted to get you on the ground.
Yeah.
So I think the next guy he has to face, even if he isn't a boxer, he needs to have some striking ability.
Did you watch it? Did you pay?
Oh, hell no.
Okay. I was going to say, next time, if it's like $20...
I think that's what it is.
I mean, I'll come over and I'll put 10 on it.
I think that's what it is. We can
watch it together. That way we can actually watch it. Because I am interested to see, because I have heard, like, he handled him pretty well. But then again, like you said, he's not a striker. He wanted to get him on the ground. And so it's just a different style for him. And plus, he's probably trained half his life to fight this one way, and now you got to stay on your feet. So it's difficult, but I guess, good for him.
Well, that was just kind of newsworthy, so I didn't know if you saw any of the fallout from it. Like, Pete Davidson was acting a fool. Oscar De La Hoya was hoovering cocaine before.
The way you described it was a shit show, and almost worth it, though, because now I'm like, well, shit, I want to see how fucked up Oscar De La Hoya gets next time and what Snoop's going to say.
Justin Bieber was there.
Such a weird crowd to run with.
It was just so weird, dude. Anyway, so let's move on to our Mount Rushmore segment. And like I mentioned in the open, this week we're going to go over our favorite restaurant salsa. This one was hard for me.
That's what she said.
This one was hard because... I don't know, man. There's not that many great ones out there. For me, anyway.
Yeah, for me, it's not that bad because I grew up on Mexican food.
So I'm gonna let you.
Half of my body weight is Mexican food.
So I'm gonna let you start it.
All right, for me to start, and these are pretty much all local. I'm not gonna try to fancy up. Oh, I was in New York City one time or something. So Campizanos, there's one here in Waxahachie. There's one in Midlothian, and it was one of those days where I remember where I was when it caught fire. So we were coming back from Claire's grandma's house in DeSoto, and we drove right past it, and you could see the smoke billowing out. The fire department just now got there to start putting it out, but that had to been a year ago.
Oh yeah, more.
And they're still. I heard they screwed up their insurance paperwork or something. So the one here locally is still not open. But I don't know, man. And the theme with all mine is I like chunky hot sauce.
Mm-hmm.
So and they just had you could get just a huge chunk of onion and cilantro on that bite, and I was all about it, and had nice little salt to it. But Campizanos, and maybe I'm just glorifying because I haven't sat in so long, but just have so many fond memories of that Campizano hot sauce. So for me, that was a no-brainer.
See, I went the other way. I went more national because I didn't know if all of our listeners would know. Most of our listeners will know.
Some of our listeners went to high school with us, so let's not kid ourselves.
True. My first one is El Phoenix. They've got decent salsa.
No, they don't.
See, like I said, this is hard for me. It's
and
really hard.
I shouldn't immediately shoot you down because this is your list, so I shouldn't criticize.
No, it's really hard. It's not great salsa, but then again, not that many places have good salsa to me. When you make the best, all the rest just
that's true. Matt's on my honorable mention because you're not technically a restaurant that Matt makes. I put on here. Actually, Matt makes a great hot sauce. That was verbatim, right there.
Maybe it has some nostalgia to it because I remember going to El Phoenix and Oak Cliff with my dad.
That the original?
The original, yeah. He used to take me to that one, and maybe it was just a nostalgia thing. I don't know. El Phoenix, we don't. I mean,
if you could only see that face now, he is not 100% on this.
No.
He just had to put words on a piece of paper.
I've got to feel it. I've got to. Words have to come out of the mouth. So why don't you take it away, bud?
I just looked at your list.
It's not good.
Next for me is Ojeda's.
Damn it.
Yeah. Ojeda's.
See, but
shit.
I was trying to stay more places.
Yeah, and that's another locally owned. That's the Ojeda family, which is from Dallas.
Yeah.
So they have they have the one in Dallas. They have the one off Hampton that we go to.
Mm-hmm. Yep. They have great beef enchiladas.
Dude, they have great everything.
Yeah.
I always get this is what I get, guys. If you ever go there, the brisket. What's it called? Chili relleno.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just stuffed with brisket, cheese, and that pepper in there. And then I think I get an enchilada with it or something. But holy shit, the brisket chili relleno. But at Ojeda's, so I put on there how they give you two salsas. They give you the mild and the salt
really
and the spicy.
Hot one, yeah,
and they're both extremely flavorful. But the hot one is really hot. So as a warning, I would say make sure you get your drink first before you start dipping into that hot sauce. Yeah, because I've made that mistake, and then you're waiting on that drink, and well, let me just put some salt packet or some salt or sugar in my mouth. That should help. And you're wiping sweet sweat off your face with their paper napkins, not cloth, which is another bonus. But both of them are great. They really are so flavorful, but the hot one will get you.
All right, this one, since you went super local, I'm going to take some from my honorable mention. I'm going to leave this one off. Blue Sky in Waxahachie.
Oh, that's that new spot.
And yeah, it's up at the top of the hill.
Yeah, I drive by it every day.
They have, go in there, get you 3 chicken tacos, rice and beans. And
it comes with hot sauce?
Well, they give you chips and hot sauce, but yeah, it's amazing.
Well,
they have the best chicken tacos in town.
And we actually tried to go there last Sunday with my mother-in-law, brother-in-law, and sister-in-law, but we checked their dates, and it says they're only open from 10 to 3.
Lunch only, yep.
Lunch only, and they're closed Sunday and Monday, and we're all off Sunday and Monday. So it's I would literally have to take off work to go up there.
Yeah, that's a shame.
Yeah, that's a shame right there.
It's really good.
Or else I would be agreeing with you right now because I'm serious. We were talking about going there. We had it all planned out, and before we went, I was like, well, let me just make sure that, what time's open. 10 to 3, Tuesday through Saturday.
I could bore you with restaurant industry talk and tell you how reasons why that's such a bad decision to be closed. The Monday, I understand. Monday is a kind of a common.
Yeah, there's a lot of places.
There's a lot of places, small places.
Yeah, a lot of them are closed on
But
Monday.
Sunday, you got to get the church crowd.
Yeah,
like you
that's
have
what I was
to.
saying. Sunday is a big day, and if you grew up in, you didn't grow up in my house. I grew up in my household, and my mom hardly ever cooked. That's why we had cereal Sunday. That was our thing, was cereal Sunday, or we would go out.
Yeah.
And every once in a while, my mom would make like an extravagant dinner, like on a rare case. But we either had cereal or we would just go somewhere on Sunday because my mom was like, I'm tired. I worked all week. I cooked all week. Like, let's just do something like this. So yeah, to not be open on and like you said, even if it was just church crowd, you could still close early on a Sunday, but just broke my heart because we were so looking forward to that.
It's really good. If you ever,
I've heard it is. I looked at the reviews. I was like, awesome. Let me check the time. And
if you ever get a random day or didn't you take off Thursday though?
I took off that whole draft. I'll work Thursday, but then I'm off Friday and Saturday, Sunday, Monday.
Okay, well, how about this? Next Friday, meet me there for lunch since you're off.
As long as it's after like 10 o'clock. I do have to go to the eye doctor. That was my excuse.
That's fine.
I did schedule that, but it's at 9 o'clock. I'll be out by
like 12:30.
They'll tell you, you're fucking blind. Get these glasses, idiot. Yeah. And I'll be done by like 9:13.
Yeah, we'll do like 12:30. I'll take you there.
Perfect.
All right, good. All right, so what's your third one?
Next one for me. This is the next one we go to the most here in town. Is El Mexican Grill. There's 2 locations. There's one downtown, and then there's one by where my mother-in-law by Academy. So if we eat with her quite often, so we'll meet up there, or when we just want to locally eat here, me and Claire will go there. Last time we got it, that bill was $50. Claire screwed up our order so badly, and then I had her because it was a pickup. I let her go with my card, and then I don't know, with my I get a text.
Yeah,
I get a text, and it was like 49 something. I was what the fuck? And she said she tried to haggle with them, but it was like this big. And then what happened was they charged me, but then they're like, oh, we screwed up. Instead of avoiding this, they just gave me like some cash back. But anyways, not that I mean to talk shit about a Mexican Grill because it really is fantastic food. And I was gonna say they also give you 2 types of salsa. One's the chunky spicy, which I love because I'm a chunky boy. And the second one is like the room temperature's hot. Like I get its hot sauce, but it's like it came out of like a pot. Like it's hotter. And I don't know. It's Claire's favorite, so I tear up the chunky one and I just let her have that because we always get like 2 extra hot sauces. And they're both fantastic. Like if y'all need food preferences at Mexican restaurants, obviously if you've seen me, I'm a big boy. I can let you know what to get at all these restaurants. And
I was kind of looking at our analytics, and we do have people that aren't from Texas that listen or have listened and may listen in the future. Here in Texas, chips and salsa is kind of like a food group. Like, we judge restaurants on whether they, A, have chips or hot sauce, or B, how good it is. So if some people are wondering why we're talking about chips
this is
and salsa,
this is a Texas thing. We're all
staple,
about it's Tex-Mex. And if I go to a Mexican restaurant and they don't bring me chips and salsa, like I'll never come back to your restaurant again.
See
and there's some places actually with El Mexican Grill, they've actually started bringing out free queso too, like a free cup of queso.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's why I keep coming back.
My third one is Chewy's. Have you ever been to Chewy's?
I have like twice, and it is fantastic.
They started in Austin.
That's
now.
another kind of local restaurant.
They have restaurants everywhere now.
Yeah.
And you like chunky salsa. Their salsa is on the line of salsa or pico. Like it almost is pico de gallo.
That sounds fantastic.
Yeah. Big chunks of tomatoes, onion, cilantro. You have to add a little salt. It is a little bland. I understand. I know why they do that, but it's really good. And then I know we're not including like other dips, but they have I think it's called Cadillac queso or something queso, but it comes with like queso, hamburger meat, like a big dollop of guacamole and a big dollop of sour cream, and you all mix it all together.
Yes.
And their chips are like super thin and airy and crispy, and really good.
I love chips and hot sauce. I'm just staring into your eyes, just dreaming about your hot sauce right now.
I'll make you some. I'm gonna have time. I'll have time this weekend. What's your last one?
My last one. I don't think this one's local, but again, we need one here because the closest one's either in Lancaster or what is it, Mansfield, and that's on the border. I love on the border. We used to go there all the time, but now that
because they will have big chunks of onion in theirs. I remember that.
Like like an inch or two of like onion.
Big chunk of onion.
They got the most ridiculous chips. They're like the size of like a little football. But
all they do is just cut a tortilla in half and then fry the halves.
Oh, is that
I think
how
that's
they
all
get
they do it. Yeah.
And I just haven't been there in so long. But like I said, we used to go there all the time. Like that was like somewhere because before you have kids, you'd be like, hey, let's go. We just go to Cedar Hill all the time.
We could leave right now like 8:30. Hey, let's just go up here.
Let's go out to eat
get a
right
bite.
now.
Yeah, you can't do that.
No, now we just stay home and like we made our own pizza today, which was delicious. But instead of going out, you make your own.
That's what we did for Landry.
So good.
Made some pizza.
Making my own pizza. My pizza is the shit.
It was good.
Claire was disappointed because she couldn't find any more pineapple to ruin her pizza with.
So she
just put a bunch of feta cheese on it.
Yeah. We've discussed your wife's habits at length.
It's weird.
I don't know how you do it.
Well, she pretty.
She pretty. All right. My
Honorable
last
mention?
one
Oh, yeah,
is
you got one.
I used up my honorable mentions because they're just so terrible. I had a really hard time with this list because I thought I was gonna go kind of more national and kind of well known, but I kind of just switched gears midway through. College Street Pub.
Yeah.
They have a great salsa. They make it there in-house. It kind of resembles mine. They don't use nearly as much cilantro
I don't know
as
if
I
I've
do.
ever had theirs then.
It's really good. Go in there and get their chips and salsa. It's
Last
really
time I
good.
did get the nachos, but I don't think it came with any. Maybe it came with like a little side.
Yeah, going in for an appetizer. Get the chips and salsa. It's worth it.
Okay.
You may have to add a little salt, but it's really good.
That's where my brother-in-law and sister-in-law, every time we hang out, they want to go there. So
Yeah.
it's inevitable.
Yeah,
We'll go get it, and I'll send
Yeah.
you a text of me eating a chip.
Yeah, and you can review it for the rest of us. You got honorable mentions? I know you.
Yeah, I'll just bust them out real quick. These were just not all restaurant hot sauces, but my favorite. Like I said, number one, Matt makes a great hot sauce. Put on here Chili's, how they have a surprisingly good hot sauce to go with their queso. So
That was on my list.
dude, they have
was on
good.
my
They
list.
do have good hot sauce, and if
And
you order, and I love their queso. So if you order the queso, it comes with it. Queso comes with hot sauce.
I get shit from Lauren because she hates it, and I just love it. It's like that chili style
No, I could eat.
queso with the big fake meat chunks
Yeah.
like in it. I love it,
Dude, that's
and that may be nostalgia for me because I grew up eating chilies like with
Yeah.
my older brother and stuff, and I don't know, I just like it. It's comforting,
it is.
and the
I
salsa's
mean,
pretty good.
I haven't been to Chili's in a long time, but every time I drive by it, I think we used to get like whether they were chicken crispers, chicken crispers and some queso.
Yep.
You're set. Put on here also. You can get these two at HEB. It's their fresh salsa they make, which is like in the produce section. They have like mild and spicy. Both of them are really good. And then Julio's. You know, the chip brand Julio's with Serrano is what we got some right now in the refrigerator.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much our go-to because like Claire doesn't like the chunky so much, so that's what I'll get. And then she'll get Serrano. So when we only get one, we get Julio's with Serrano, and it's got a nice kick to it.
I will give my last one that was on my main one. Believe it or not, Saltgrass.
That's a really good restaurant.
Saltgrass,
to me, that's classy.
They serve it with their spinach artichoke dip, and they serve it, and usually they give you like a little ramekin of it, like a little 2-ounce little cup of it. But I always ask for more, and it's really good.
You need more than that.
It's really good. Next time, or if you ever go to Saltgrass, get the spinach artichoke dip and ask for extra salsa. It's really good.
We're such fat kids. I feel like we spend a lot of time on this hot sauce, just delving into it.
Hot sauce is a sport, man.
It is, man. Like I love good hot sauce, and like I said, you make the best ones. We'll bring it to the draft, and you'll bring like gallons of it.
I bring in the last 3 years. First year I brought half a gallon, and it got wiped out. So the last 2 years we've had a draft in person. I brought in exactly a gallon, and usually by Saturday night it's gone.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, there's like 12 of us, so
and we're usually like drunk and stoned.
Yeah.
Horny as hell.
people sticking their dick in it.
Oh, man, that was too far. One time.
Was it?
One time.
All right, so I had terrible luck last week with Pick Your Poison, so I'm going to let you pick.
All right. Yeah, last week's was dumb.
It was super dumb. All right.
That's a long question. Well, would you rather be only able to watch the few movies with a Rotten Tomatoes score of 95 to 100%, or only be able to watch the majority of movies with a Rotten Tomatoes score of 94 and lower?
Give me the majority with 94 and lower, because
I agree.
I feel like that's kind of where I'm comfortable. I'm
94
comfortable
is
in
still
those,
a solid score.
I'm comfortable in those waters.
If it was like 70 and below, maybe, but and I feel like a lot of the ones that get like perfect scores are like real, I don't know, either foreign films or like artsy, or I'm like, you'll watch something, you're like, let me see what they got. They got a 90, 99. What? That was ridiculous. And then you'll watch a classic like Heavyweights, and it got like 42%.
Give me.
I would go and you would get such a better selection.
Oh yeah.
Of 94% and down, because I mean, there's just been probably some of the best movies that I've seen have been a 94 down, because what I think is great isn't what some critic think is great.
That's right. Let's just go through and probably think about what would be excluded off. You got to think like classics like Dumb and Dumber. That probably didn't get a 94.
I doubt it got it. I like how that was the first one. Absolute classic, Dumb and Dumber.
That's a classic to me.
Austin Powers, MacGruber, right here.
Christmas Vacation. I see it behind you.
Definitely.
I can't live without.
And I mean, I guess we couldn't watch like The Godfather, and Godfather Part 2, which would hurt, but yeah, but we can watch Dumb and Dumber, Dumberer.
That
all
was
day.
Bad. Did you like that?
I didn't like that, actually.
That was bad.
It was a whole new cast, and
It just wasn't good.
it just wasn't.
I did read a rumor that they're getting Jim Carrey and Jeff Daniels back for a third one.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
This would be their third one then.
Yeah.
Man, they're really milking that, huh?
Yeah, every drop.
Yeah. Well,
Ride that cash cow.
I guess you just get dumber with age, so
yeah.
I guess that's the premise they can go with, just still stupid.
All right, so on the topic of movies, that was a nice little segue. Let's get into our movie review for this week. And like I mentioned in the open, we reviewed the Disney classic Heavyweights. I feel like this is an underrated one.
It is very underrated, and because I looked it up afterwards because I did want to see the score, and they were saying how at the time it was like so badly received and critically slammed, but they were like it really aged well.
It did,
and like they were saying like guys maybe they watched it when it first came out, and now they're adults and they rewatched it and they're like, yeah, this movie still made me laugh. It still reminded me of like childhood and had nostalgic to it.
I watched
it really
it as
was
a kid.
a good. Oh, I did too.
I
remember because on the VHS cover they're all holding up a big sub together. Yeah. And I was like, hell yeah, that, made me laugh, and that was a great movie. I would recommend watching it tonight if you haven't seen it.
Ben Stiller he
killed it.
He was awesome in it.
Yeah.
The rise and fall of a madman.
Tony Perkis.
Perkisizing.
What a great character too. Like he really became like Tony Perkis. Like he was a physical freak, like bit of a maniac, psycho.
There's that one scene where they're doing the weigh-in and he's kind of like talking to himself. He's like, "What's wrong?
What's wrong, Tony?"
He's like, "Come on." He's like, "Everything's falling apart and I can't do anything about it."
And then he decides like, it's not your fault, it's their fault. Yeah, it's their fault. And he turns around and he's like, all right. Well, I guess we're getting ahead of ourselves, but
like, cut the camera on.
He just scolds the children. It's like, yeah, these are like 10-year-olds, man.
All right, so it's good for a bunch of laughs. I don't think this movie could be made in 2021.
No, there was a lot of fat shaming.
A lot of fat shaming.
Like that's all they did. Because at the beginning, the way it starts out is the last day of school. Everyone in a classic movie scene, everyone throws their shit in the air and just mayhem ensues.
Which never happened.
I know. I put on here that never happens. Only in movies. They would like scold you and like you pick all that up after school if you did.
You'd go to jail in 2021 for that. They would call the cops.
But so he misses his bus, so he has to walk home, which is
and they're taunting him. They're like, "Run, fatty, run!"
Yeah, he's running, can't catch the bus, and then he goes by a baseball field, and he can't even throw over the fence, and they're making fun of him for that. I just
feel like even though you're fat, like you should be able to throw a ball.
You should be able to put your weight behind that. Yeah.
I see what you did there. You should be able to throw a ball. Like that just made me really
I know, like
sad.
to be that age, like going to junior high and you can't throw a ball. But my favorite part was when he gets home. And there's a guy from the counselor or from the camp there, and they basically have a fat kid intervention for him because he's watching this video. He's like, "Oh, that looks awesome!" They go, and then they show all the kids. They're like, "Hey, come on to Camp Hope and have a great time." He goes, "It's a fat camp. It's a camp for fat kids." I'm not going.
They should have rated this at least an R for all the titties that were out in this movie. There were so many flopping
wet t-shirt contest and titties out.
So many flopping titties in this
Lots
movie.
Lots of butt cracks too.
Yeah. So. He gets shamed into going to camp. He's like, "I'm not going." And then the next scene is like a plane taking off. He's on the plane. And then we get introduced to he'll always be Russ Tyler in my heart, but it's Kenan
Thompson.
Who
I put on here makes like his 4th appearance on our podcast.
He does, yeah.
But before I was just gonna say, this movie was co-written by Judd Apatow.
That's crazy.
Which was really cool to me. And it was co-written alongside Steve Brill, who wrote the Mighty Ducks trilogy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, we had that connection. But when I saw Judd Apatow, that's when I was like, all right, this is going to be, like, sneaky funny. Like, now that I'm watching it as an adult, like, there's going to be better humor in this.
See, and I watched it right when Disney Plus launched because I got it, and I was browsing through it. I saw they had Heavyweights. So I was like, holy crap, I haven't seen this since I was a little kid. And so I watched it several months back, and then I watched it again last night. And it's, man, I don't see how I got a low score. It made me laugh out loud.
Oh, yeah. I was entertained the whole time. It had a good story structure because you knew, like, going to a summer camp, there's a purpose for this camp. You know, there's something at the end of the camp to look forward to. There's a goal at the end. Like, it had everything you wanted in a movie. It didn't, like, lack anything.
Yeah.
And it just, growing up, like, watching these movies, I idolized, like, going to a summer camp. Even if it was fat. Like, I would love to go to Camp Hope and jump on the blob and ride go-karts and, you know.
Yeah, no, it seems like a great place. I never went to summer camp because I don't know about you, but in the summer I was always playing ball of some sort. Usually baseball 'cause it's summer, but I was always playing. I was playing sports, so I never went to.
Still, it would have been cool to go to these summer camps.
Yeah, so they get to camp, or they get to the airport, and we meet Pat, who has
been there for 18 years.
Been there for 18 years
since he was a kid and hadn't left.
Super cool dude. Probably.
Did you notice how closely he looked like the main character Jerry? Mm-hmm. Looked like he could be his fucking dad.
Like that's Jerry as an adult.
Yeah.
And something that weirded me out, and I don't know why, but you know, I watched it when I was a kid. I knew his name was Jerry, and then I watched it last night with captions on, and it's Jerry with a G.
It's Gerald.
Yeah.
It's Jerry short for Jerry.
Yeah.
Or Jerry short for Gerald.
Weirds me out.
I gotta show you. Well, I guess I'll wait till the end, but you got to see a picture of Gerald from Heavyweights.
Oh, he's ripped.
Dude, yeah, he's stunning.
He's like svelte.
Yeah, he is a handsome son of a bitch.
Yeah, because they did, you know, with the Mighty Ducks animated series, they did, when that was getting ready to release, they did a bunch of like reunion stuff, and they got the cast all back together.
He's most handsome of the bunch, yeah.
Yeah.
Good for him.
So yeah, we meet Pat, who's probably everything you'd want in a camp counselor.
Oh yeah, he's a cool dude. He's like the cool uncle.
Something, you know, somebody to want your kid around. Good role model. Seemed like good dude. Mm-hmm. So we meet him, make the drive up to camp. He does this cool thing where they're passing a bunch of fast food.
Oh, I put on there.
Pull over. And
he goes, okay.
And he starts to pull in.
And they all, no!
Which I don't understand. Like,
what a great joke to pull on a bunch of fat kids.
Because we learn later that they're packing a whole bunch of stuff.
Oh, that was a great scene.
So why are you...
Well, because they wanted... I don't know, like they wanted a burger. They got all the candy. Like, we'll get to that scene where they, like, unload. It was, like... And then, like, one kid, like, I guess was too hot on the bus, so it melted on his body. That was my
first thing. I'm like, dude, all that chocolate would be melted.
Yep.
Because I'm a big dude, and I know I sweat at inopportune times.
Especially, like, on a bus where it's crowded.
In the summer.
Yeah. Summer, you're right.
All that would just be...
And one kid brought, like, just links of, like, sausage.
He's got salami strapped to his back.
I was like, dude, my man. Because you can't just eat sweets all the time. You got to mix it up
savory.
with, like, a sausage or a cheese, you know?
Yeah, man. So we get to camp.
They just start unloading in there.
Yeah, we get to camp. We're unloading the bus. We get introduced to Tim, and they all start making fun of him. Tim is another counselor.
Oh, yeah.
And they're giving him a hard time, and Jerry's like, hey, why are we giving this guy a hard time? And he's like, well, he used to be one of us, and he lost a bunch of weight. So he's super skinny, but still comes, I guess, to be a counselor. And then we get introduced to Julie, the nurse.
You know who she looked like?
Who?
Alicia Silverstone.
She really did.
That's who I thought it was at first.
I
put on here, nurse is a great value, Alicia Silverstone.
Good point. That's a good point.
Still hot.
She was hot.
She was a babe, and she was
wearing no bra. And those were doink doink everywhere. The whole movie.
She wanted Pat. She wanted a good guy.
Yeah, she got one. She got all of them. So then we get to the scene we were just talking about. They go to their bunks. They're in the chipmunk bunk, and they just start unloading. And they've got all these little hidey holes, like in the bedposts. They're hollowed out, and they're dropping all kinds of candy. They got a hole in the floor.
They move a bunk, and they have like a whole dugout there, like a human could lay in.
Yeah, and they just start unloading.
Well, you gotta think they've been coming there for years, because Jerry's the only new kid. So everyone else has been going there for years, and they know what they're doing.
They've got it all figured out, and like you said, one kid opens up his jacket like a drug dealer, and he's got it all of it. And he's like, and the little British kid's like, "Oh, that's cool." But watch this. He opens up a briefcase. He's got it all in like little baggies.
Falls out. It's like sectioned off.
They look like pills. Like,
it's seriously like what a really nice professional drug dealer would carry with them. Like, hey, look at this.
And then we're talking about that one scene where the kid lifts up his shirt and it's all melted. And then the other guy comes over and rubs his belly and licks the chocolate.
That's too much.
No, I'm out.
And then we got they had to sell the camps when we meet Tony Perkis.
Yeah, so
Jerry Stiller. Was that his wife? Was that Ben Stiller's mom?
I think I'd recognize her.
I think they were a duo.
Really?
I don't know. It could have been. They had, but Jerry Stiller in every scene he's in was great. And
so they filed Chapter 9 bankruptcy, had to sell off the camp, and everybody was like telling Jerry, "Hey man, you're gonna love I forget their name, but you're gonna love the owners. They're great people." And then here comes Ben Stiller, and the show starts.
He's very like over the top theatrical. Like you can tell he's been planning that entrance, been thinking about that entrance and his presentation. And does he get to the point where he wants to do? He's going to film everything, and he wants to turn it into a weight loss infomercial.
Yeah, which is like so 90s. Like,
well, it's just so fucked up that it's like, if I send my kid off to this camp, and then you're going to like, I don't know, take over and just, pull a 180, and now instead of like having fun, now you're just going to like drill sergeant them.
Well,
but you're talking about infomercial.
You remember 90s. How big like weight loss infomercial and just like the weight loss kind of boom kind of hit, like Hydroxycut and all these other, basically speed. Slim Fast and all that stuff kind of got big. Jenny Craig was huge. Yeah, huge in the 90s. It's just, that was kind of very, very 90s. But yeah, but Jerry's dad is the one who wanted him to go lose weight.
Yeah.
But I don't think he wanted him to lose weight like this.
No, not like drastic like that, like boot camp style.
And did you notice the cameraman?
There's a guy from Grandma's Boy.
Yeah. And he's one of Sandler's buddies, and I don't know his name.
Because when I looked up Stephen Brill, because when he was the writer, I looked. He actually directed like Little Nicky and like 4 or 5 other Adam Sandler movies, and I think they just collaborate well together.
Yeah.
So if you're, I think that was just like the connection they had was all the way back from Heavyweights. Like those guys go back that far.
That's cool. But then Tony Perkis' Reign of Terror just kind of starts from then.
Yeah, they go straight into fat shaming and just like weighing them for their. They made them take before pictures.
Yeah. They take before pictures. They're doing like the little clamps on their cheeks and all their love handles. Yeah, they're getting their and so he's got them working out a bunch. At one point, like he cancels lunch due to lack of hustle, and
then lunch looked terrible anyways. But it
looked like slop.
Yeah, it did.
It looked like slop. And then slowly you just see him devolving and getting more and more upset and putting these kids and the counselors really through hell.
Well, I think it was the pressure because he said like his dad was a big shot and this was his chance to make it.
Yep.
And he's like, unless I sell like so many units of this infomercial, like I'm done. So he like sunk everything he had into this, and the pressure was just getting to him. And these kids they're not there to lose weight; they're there to have fun. They got sausages stored everywhere. So
there's a few scenes that we could pick out until like the real turn on, in the movie. For one, when they play Camp MVP.
And got destroyed, yeah.
Like,
you think they would get run ruled? It was like 50-0.
Poor Jerry. And first of all, they're playing fast pitch underhand softball as boys.
Yeah, it's weird.
Like, if you're really Camp MVP and the counselor said we train them to compete at the highest level, why in the fuck are you playing underhand softball? No offense to my softball girls out there. Love you. But why are boys playing underhand softball?
I think that was a Camp Hope request that they play underhand softball.
But poor Jerry. They put him on the hot corner over there, and he got hit in the face, in the nuts,
he got hit
chest.
Everywhere. And they're like, can I go to the nurse? Like, yeah, just wait till somebody else comes back.
It's like
because they're all just beat up, dude.
So that one was really good.
Well, and then the scene after that, because I have it on the next note, really made me laugh. So after they get destroyed, Tony does a sweeping search of the cabin.
Yep.
And they find all the sausage or all the candy and sausage. And then at the very end, he's with Keenan's character. And he does a frisk and he finds a Pez dispenser like in his sock. And he takes it out and empties it like a gun. You hear when the Pez falls to the ground, it sounds like bullets
shells.
Yeah, he opens it up. He's like, looks like we got a hot gun here or something. Opens it up and it falls to the ground. I just started laughing when that happened, dude.
And at first I didn't put 2 and 2 together, but I was like, how in the fuck did he know to look in the bedpost? But then they had one of the counselors who...
He's like, I was a chipmunk last year. Check this out.
Yeah.
Little fucking rat.
Fucking narc, dude. They should have...
That guy comes back later, though. He was the one that supplied him with all the fast food. Because, they think like they're starting to do good, and then they catch one of the kids, like, eating a hamburger on the toilet.
They break into his house.
Oh,
They're looking for food or whatever.
Looking for their loot back, yeah.
Yeah, and they find out he's been keeping all their letters that they've been writing home, so they can't, tell their parents.
Which is tyrannical, man. Evil. Yeah, it's like a dictator.
And then we get a good scene of the British kid, and he's in there eating chocolate or something out of a can, and he's trying to get him out of the window, and he farts in his face. Yeah, and
classic.
So it's right after
humor.
that. They're running away from the cabin, and they're like catching their breath around like on the side of the building.
They ran like 12 feet, and they got to bend.
I'm not making fun of them because I'm not sure I can run much farther.
They just ran so awkwardly. They were like lumbering, like running like apes or something.
But then Jerry's like, "Wait a second, you hear that? It's a wrapper." Like, what? It's a food wrapper. And
they follow that sound.
They catch him in the stall eating. Ugh! You imagine a summer camp stall out baking in that heat.
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
And you're
That's
sitting
disgusting.
there eating like.
And you have the woods as cover, like literally walk 20 yards in the woods and eat that.
I won't chew gum and go into a bathroom.
Oh, I didn't even think about that. That's disgusting. I wouldn't even chew gum in my bathroom. You're talking to the guy who even at his own house, I'll lay down like 3 sheets of toilet paper on that seat before I put these sweet cheeks down.
Oh, dude. Like, our break room was like, you have to pass the bathroom. So sometimes, like, I've got my water bottle and I need to refill it, but I got to go to the bathroom. I'll sit my water bottle down in the hallway. Like, and it's like got a screw-on lid,
Yeah, that's
I won't even take that in the bathroom. And this kid is just going to town on a fucking Whopper inside this fucking... I bet you it smells like a fucking Guatemalan YMCA in there.
I didn't even think about that, but you're right. That's disgusting to be eating it. Eating any bathroom, like I said, I wouldn't even eat my own bathroom, let alone a camp for fat kids.
Like I
probably blow that thing up.
I finished chewing my food before. Like if I have to get up and go, like if I'm chewing something, I'll just chew it real quick and then go. I won't even, not even gum. No. Anyway, and then another funny scene is the dance. When he sets up the dance with the...
Which is really to like humiliate. Tony set it up to humiliate the boys.
And then once they started having fun, he shut it down.
Yeah, because that counselor, the skinny one that lost all the weight, gets out there and starts acting a fool and dancing, and everyone's like, yeah,
Pat's
fuck
like,
it,
what are you doing? He's like, I'm saving the dance.
He did have some good moves. I can never bash a guy for dancing because I have
zero
moves. Yeah. I'm the stand in the corner and make fun of other people while they dance.
And then that one kid with the braces, he actually gets a little smooch.
He's making out at the end hard. Yeah. He's making out.
Yeah, and then of course.
Yeah, you're right. As soon as they're having fun, like Tony busts open the doors, he's like, "Party's over, shut it down.
No more of this." And then we get what kind of starts to break the straw that breaks the camel's back is they're weighing in again.
Yeah, it's the halfway point. That's
the halfway point.
And Parents' Day is coming up.
And they're not taking it seriously, and that's where he has that little breakdown.
Starts talking to himself.
Like 3 of them gained weight. 3 of them gained weight.
Yeah, because he gets to the first 2 is like, okay, 2 pounds. He's like, muscle weighs more than what does he say?
Muscle weighs more than fat.
Yeah, he's like, okay, all right. And then Jerry comes up and he's like, well, you gained 9 pounds. And then he gets Josh, who's that Goldberg from Mighty Ducks. And as soon as he steps on, he goes, get off the scale. Because he doesn't even wave him. Get off the scale.
It's got the big one at the bottom. That's like 100, 150.
It goes by like 50.
And then you've got the fine-tuned one up top. Like he stepped on the scale and it
just dropped
down. He's just like, get off.
I love that part, man.
He's like, cut off the camera.
Yeah, and he tells him to cut off the camera. And then he just starts wailing into it.
And he's like, tomorrow, 20-mile hike. And then Pat's like, hey, I don't think 20-mile hike is healthy. He's like, oh, look at this. The fat guy is going to tell me what's healthy.
Dude, you're right. They couldn't make it healthy. Nothing but fat shaming.
No.
And it's true, though. Like, if someone told me, like, hey, we're going on a 20-mile hike tomorrow, I'll say, well,
let's start with 2.
That. Yeah, let's work our way up to it. Like, I get tired driving 20 miles. Like, I am not about to walk.
We get to the next day, and they go on this hike. And it's kind of a montage. I show them hiking, and they're kind of falling off, like, they're just falling off like
they
flies,
can't keep up.
And
that one kid falls, he goes, leave him. Or he says, like, damn it, what did he say?
He said something about...
He said something like, he's a straggler, leave him.
Yeah, stragglers make us weak.
Yeah. I was like, Jerry, he's 10 years old.
Jerry's being a good guy, and he picks him up, and they don't leave a man behind.
Jerry is a good guy in this movie.
So they get to the top of this rock face, and they come up with a plan. They hatch a plan to put an end to all this. And they kind of start it with... They take an hour break because Tony decides that they're going to climb that 1,000-foot rock face with their hands and feet. And I'm like, they can't climb up a flight of stairs.
No.
So they take a break, and they come back from break, and there's a bunch of commotion going on, and Tony's like, hey, what's going on? And they were like, well, settle a debate for us. Jerry here says you can't do a push-up or a sit-up if you can't see or hear. So he's like, yeah, let me show you. So he gets down, they blindfold him. They do the old pull the pants down, pull the blindfold off when he sits up and he's got a butt in your face.
Yeah, but it didn't quite go. I was hoping he'd get like straight, like brown nosed.
No, he stopped.
He stopped like halfway up and then did like a karate chop and
chopped his knees.
Yeah. He goes, ugh, and pushes him away, which is a great move.
So he gets,
but that was only the first step of the plan.
Yeah, basically
they had it all planned out.
He just needed something to get him mad, so he'd chase him.
Yeah.
So they chase him down the trail and get him to fall in this hole. Now, if they're really thinking, they would have made a punji pit or a punjai pit where it's got the spikes in the bottom.
Straight murder.
Hey, that guy was trying to murder them. It was self-defense.
And then they even talked about that when they were on that cliff earlier. They're like, why don't we just push him off? They're like, no jury in the world would convict us. So they're already thinking about killing him.
And then Jerry was like, no, it's too messy. I'm like, no, that's actually the cleanest way.
Yeah, that really is, because you could say he just slipped. Or,
because he already went out on the branch that overhung the cliff edge
to show how crazy he was or something.
Yeah, I was like, no, Jerry, actually, that's the best way you could probably do it.
It really was, if you wanted to kill somebody.
Because then the jury's going to have to, defense team's going to have to hire a team to go out and do, reenactments with the dummy.
But you're counting on, like, everyone to keep quiet.
Yeah.
You don't want a weak link or else someone else is going over that.
That British kid.
I was going to say that fucking British kid was squealing. That's exactly what I thought, was that British kid.
So,
but they get him captured.
They get him captured, and they come back to camp, and
the adults are also, they're trying to figure out a way, like, well, I have a buddy that's a lawyer, and I know somebody that works for CPS, and they're like, well, we can't do anything for a couple weeks, and then Jerry shows up, and he's like, yeah, we got it taken care of, come with us. They take him to the little hideout, and
he's got him locked in
password was Yankee Doodle to get in, and then they got him like in a cage with electrical wire
in a barn.
Yeah,
yeah,
like they doing a good job.
And the adults freak out, and they're like, "Oh, what are you doing? Like, you can't do this." So Pat goes in. He's like, "I'm so sorry. We'll get you out." And Tony Perkis shot his mouth off. He's like, "I'm gonna stick my foot so far," and he puts the tape back over his mouth. He's like, "Are these ropes strong enough? Because we can get more ropes." Yeah. And then they continue to take back over the camp. And Parents Day is right around.
I just put on here, like, on that trip just turned into straight Lord of the Flies. That's what it reminded me of. Was
Thank
Lord
you.
of the Flies.
Yeah, it was very Lord of the Flies. And then
they had that big blowout before the Parents Day. Remember, they just go crazy with all that food.
It's Diabetes Fest 1994, dude.
They just sped up like their death so fast, like,
dude, my blood sugar spiked watching it.
I mean, there was guys just like getting drenched in chocolate syrup and
chugging maraschino cherries. They brought in like a 20-foot sub, like 15 pizzas.
Yeah, they had delivery guys coming in like in a row of people, like just taking a slice here, a wing there,
and one
guy lifts up the sub, like.
And one dude was like making it rain, like as the delivery guys passed, he would like slap bills like as they pass by. So they blow it out, and then Pat wakes him up the next morning.
Pat didn't partake because he had that nurse there with him. So
he was getting a snack of another kind.
There you go, the best kind.
And so Pat wakes him up the next morning and is like, "Hey, we need to do better, not just for us." And he did it the right way.
Yeah, I was gonna say he was like the camp leader that they wanted all along.
And they needed. So Pat gets them walking, gets them exercising, and then they start kind of tearing down the camp of anything Perkis related.
Yeah, they make it back into Camp Hope. Yeah. And
I skipped over a part. They tie up Lars, which we haven't brought up Lars yet.
Yeah, I like Lars. Lars came around. Lars, he goes, "I'm Lars from far away."
he's like, "I have to warn you, I have a severely deviated septum."
I put on here, dude, he definitely has sleep apnea.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't it was like after his snore came like this screech.
That
all the kids just stayed up all night.
He did a fuck ton of cocaine.
Yeah, back in like East Germany before he
wrecked.
came over.
So they tie up Lars and the other counselors.
He was the DJ at the party. He was jamming at that party. He was all coked out of his mind.
Yeah. And so they tie up all the
They tie him up and they're like, "Yeah, leaving you for the bears."
And then he gets scared by a deer.
He goes, "I'm a vegetarian." He thought it really was a bear because I guess not many bears wherever he's from, but. Yeah, that was a good part.
But then, during the party scene, they go out and they're like, "You're either with us or against us." He's like, "I'm with you."
I love you.
And then he's over there pouring chocolate syrup all over himself.
Dude, Lars came all around because at first, when he took over camp, or whatever, or it's not camp, but the cabin, Chipmunk, their little camp was, not camp, what's it called, like when you're a Boy Scout? and your little crew of guys. Anyways, a troop. Yeah, they were troop. Chipmunk. He seemed like a real asshole, but by the end of it, you're like, I would love to hang out with Lars.
Yeah, Lars ended up being
Do some cocaine.
Talk about the motherland.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah, he ended up being okay. So yeah.
So at this point, Tony's still locked up, though.
He's still locked up.
He's having a mental breakdown.
Yep, he is going insane.
Yep.
Rightfully so. Parents' Day comes. Poor Jerry's dad's like he hadn't lost a pound. But Parents' Day comes, and Pat and the other counselors and Nurse Julie, they put together a little video just to show the parents what they've gone through.
And he's just being a straight asshole.
They show them all the worst moments, and they spice it up a little bit with Goldberg eating a fake rat that he finds. And then, of course, leave it to the fucking British kid.
Got tricked by a foil wrapped into a Hershey's, and that was enough to...
I'm like, what are you doing? You just binged yourself
last night or
all
whatever.
Kind of sweets. You've got tons of sweets, and you're gonna fall for the old tin. I'd be able to spot it. I'd be like, no, that's tinfoil, dude.
You just grab it and squeeze it.
That's tinfoil, dude. Or I'd be like, hey, toss it to me. But anyway, he gets him in close, takes him basically hostage, escapes, and then he kind of busts. He's
at the top of like a build in the windowsill when they're watching this video.
He starts clapping,
and he just looks like. So when he comes in, he just looks like an absolute fucking psycho.
He looks like a maniac.
Yeah.
So he does a double front flip down off this thing, confronts Jerry's dad. Jerry's dad punches him in the stomach, which is the wrong move. You don't punch a guy with abs of steel in the stomach. You try to break his nose.
Or you hit him in the nuts.
I hit him in the nuts, yeah. He's like, you're done here, mister, or something.
Something cheesy line.
Cheesy like that. And obviously hitting him in the abs didn't work, so he gets back up. Karate chops Jerry's dad in the shoulder and the neck. Does like a quadruple somersault backflip. Hits the back wall, and that's out. The end of that.
And the next thing you know, his dad's back.
Tony Perkis Sr.
Tony Perkis Sr. to clean it all up.
Who has Ben Stiller in age makeup, and he does a phenomenal job.
That character was the same character from Starsky and Hutch. You know, when he goes undercover and just to do it. That's exactly what it reminded me of. That was the character he just played.
Yeah.
And the Tony Perkis character reminded me a lot of the character from Dodgeball.
Yep.
That was a big guy and then lost all that weight, and at the end, put it all back on. Yep. Those characters, those characters really were paralleled each other.
Well, anyway.
And then he asked, and they're like, well, I don't want, because he's like, sorry,
a refund,
go home. And they're like, we don't want to go home yet, we want to stay here, but they need a camp counselor.
He's like, I need an adult to put on the insurance.
Like, well, who's been here the longest? And everyone's like, 3 years, 4 years. Passes 18 years. They're like, what have you been doing with your life? Okay, well, you're in charge. And, the kids love it. And then they start training for the Apache relay, which I don't think we brought up, but that was the whole point of the summer was
that's the big end of the summer
against camp MVP. And there was several, it was a rally, or
it's like a kind of
relay,
decathlon.
Yeah. Then there was a one about wits. Then it ended up with the go-karts. Yeah. So I just put it as a sweet ass relay that I would actually train for. And it all comes down to Jerry in the race. And he gets his wings back. So that comes full circle as well. And it was really a real-life Mario Kart.
They did a great job casting the other kid, the other driver from Camp MVP. That kid had a very punchable face.
Most of them did on Camp MVP. Even the coach.
So punchable. But, they start the race. It's kind of back and forth. The other kid kind of cuts Jerry off at one point, runs him off track. Jerry returns the favor. It comes down to the wire. And at one point, Camp MVP had been coming and vandalizing the camp, and they'd arrive on boat. Well, once Tony Perkis is out of the way and they're kind of taking the camp back, they show a scene where the Camp MVP guys are going back to their boat after vandalizing, and the motor's gone. So I think they use that motor to build the go-kart, and they're coming down to the end of the race, and there's this one final jump, and they have a propeller from the boat on the back of the go-kart, and Jerry hits the throttle and activates the propeller, and it launches him off of the jump over the other guy, and he wins the race.
Lucky you didn't fucking kill him with that. Yeah, decapitate him with that boat propeller going.
Yeah. And that's basically it. They win the Apache relay. All is good. Jerry says at the end, "Hey Pat, thanks for the best damn summer of my life." And Pat kisses Nurse Julie. Everybody rides off into the sunset. The end.
I would love
All
to
in
see
all,
a sequel. It was a solid
great
movie. Like, if my kid wanted to watch that again with me, sometime down the road, I would love to rewatch that with her.
Landry walked in probably a quarter of the way through, and he didn't leave up under my arm.
Yeah,
the entire time he was hooked.
I had started it, and I was like 30 minutes in, and then Claire got home, and I was like, this is a really good movie. I was like, if you want, I'll pause it and we'll watch it together. But she didn't want to. But I was trying to get her like, you sure you don't want to watch this with me? Like,
I did that with Lauren too. Lauren didn't want to either.
Girls suck. They have no sense of classics.
Well, Lauren was doing like parent shit. Like Landry's got a pre-K graduation coming up. So he had a cap and gown picture taken at school, and she was making invitations and stuff, filling those out and sending those off. So she was actually doing.
She's being legit, a productive adult while you watched Heavyweights.
Well, I'm watching a 30-year-old movie, but about fat kids. But no, it was a great movie. So that was our movie review on Heavyweights. If anybody's got any comments, if you watched it, drop us a line on Instagram. Let us know what you thought. But what are we going to review next week? And again, we want to get your votes on Instagram and I'll make a post like I did last week, and you guys go on and vote. What did we decide on?
We'll come back to Little Giants. We'll put it up against another movie down the road. But as soon as this one ended, it suggested Big Green. So I thought that would be a great one for us. And we're going to put it up against Sandlot. And I know everybody's probably seen The Sandlot. And that's actually like a really good movie, but it's really quotable and memorable. So I'd be down for either one.
I hope it's Big Green.
I really do too, only because I haven't seen it in so long. Like, I think Sandlot's an absolute classic, and I'll watch that anytime. I won't be upset if that's what's chosen, but it's been a long time since Big Green, and I remember liking that. It's soccer. So I know you.
No, I watched it again around the same time I watched Heavyweights the first time when I got my Disney Plus account, and I rewatched it. And
Disney Plus has like all these movies that we watched growing up that are, to me, always rewatchable.
Me and Landry and Lauren watched Little Rascals last week. It was
that
great.
Would be another good one. Yeah, I like that movie.
It was great. So yeah, those are the two: Big Green, Sandlot. I kind of know how this one. I think I know how this one's going to go, but I'll put that up on Instagram. You guys kind of vote. And you can watch along with us. No sports this week. It's kind of a slow sports week. We're kind of in that lull. Rangers are playing above average more than what I thought.
Yeah.
They're getting really good pitching right now.
I wish I could watch some games.
Yeah, I just have to keep up through the radio and the internet. They're, I think, 9-10 or 10-9 or 10-10 by now, but they're
that's
more than
honestly
what I thought.
Better than what we could ask for.
I think the Yankees have a worse record, so that always makes me happy.
Always makes me feel good to know they're sucking.
Mavericks are
still in the 7th seed, I believe. I'm pretty
playing
sure they play the back-to-back Lakers. So it's
tonight without LeBron.
Saturday. Yeah. Without LeBron and AD's on a minutes restrictions, I saw, because 15 minutes per night for these two games, which is great because the guy I'm up against in the playoffs has AD. So
well, and from a Maverick point of view, we just need to win them. Like, if we can't win them, then we don't deserve.
And I know we talked about that last week about the play-in. And I can't tell you the exact stat, but it's something that's like going forward, like we have like the third easiest remaining schedule, and Portland, the team we're trying to catch, has like the second hardest remaining schedule. So, and Portland's, they're tumbling right now. Like, but no matter if they lose, we just have to keep winning.
Yeah, we got to win. So, Luka, it's time for you to step up and be a superstar. You can't be starstruck anymore. LeBron's not there for you to be starstruck over, so let's get it done. So not a lot of sports. We're a week away from the NFL draft at time of recording. We mentioned last week it's mine and Andrew's favorite time of the year. Probably it may be my favorite sporting event.
I think the only thing that would be better is if the Cowboys win the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
That would make it better, obviously.
Cowboy games for me are probably number one, but, NFL draft.
It's just the build-up, the anticipation, because now I'm like, it's less than a week away.
It's just team building.
This time next week, like, oh shit, we might actually be picking this time at 9, 12.
We'll be texting back and forth.
We'll probably be past that. We'll probably be about midway through the first, but yeah, I'll be texting. And like I said, I already took those days off. I'm going to be staying up, having myself a drink, having a smoke, making a fool of myself.
So, not a lot of sports. Sorry, we don't have a lot of sports going on. FC Dallas did have their first match. They drew 0-0, which is...
Was that Colorado?
Colorado.
Yeah. Because I saw they said that we haven't had a... Was it a a season opener or home opener we haven't lost since like 2009.
Yeah. And that streak continues. So,
yeah,
again, it's going to be one of those years.
Loss.
We've got a lot of newcomers. It's going to take some time to gel. But we look good for long stretches. Colorado is much improved. They played really well.
They got our boy on there.
Kellen Acosta. Yep.
No, well, who's the other guy?
Michael Barrios.
Barrios, yeah.
Yeah, he was with us for 6 years, and it was weird seeing him in another uniform.
Was the guy Acosta you're talking about? Is his brother on our team, or do we just have another guy?
No, we have another Acosta.
Okay, because I saw that and I was like, maybe they're related.
Kellen Acosta was one of our homegrown players.
I still have his little shirt jersey that I wore to that last game.
Yeah, so we have, and then Brian Acosta is from Honduras, so
totally different.
And Kellen Acosta is from Plano, so he was our homegrown. But yeah, it was kind of weird seeing Mikey Barrios in another shirt, and it was kind of cool. He got, in soccer they do team photos before every game.
I saw that. He
jumped in ours. And
yeah,
so that was cool.
I did get to watch that because it was on KXA or whatever, 21.
Yeah.
I really want to go to that game. We need to figure one out, like a Saturday night, Friday night, or I'll take off.
There's one, I can't remember. It's May 1st or May 8th, but Houston's in town. I think it's like a 2:30 game.
Saturday? Is that? Well,
Saturday.
I know the first is a Saturday. That's the day of the draft.
8th. No, the 8th, I think, is the Houston game.
Damn. That's gonna be difficult for me to take off back-to-back Saturdays.
Well, either way, we can get it done.
Let's figure it out.
Saturday
because I
night
would
game.
love to go. I would like that. Actually, sounds perfect. So we could go at a good time. The game would be over by like 5, and then we could hit up some bars and cuddle at that hotel.
Oh yeah, baby.
Sounds perfect.
But yeah, so FC Dallas kicked off their season. They play Saturday in San Jose. So not much sports going on. So we're gonna get right into what are we watching, what are we listening to, and we'll get out of here. I have had a busy week at work so far, and when I'm busy at work, usually I'm listening to podcasts. But when I'm busy, I need to concentrate, and when I need to get stuff out, I'm meeting deadlines. I need something chill to listen to, so I've been listening to Sigaros, which is something I haven't listened to in years.
Yeah, me either.
So good though.
Always holds up. 2
Icelandic chicks playing music with like saws and bows and all kinds of weird shit, but it just works.
That's a great explanation of who that band is. That's exactly who they are.
Yeah, they use
2 Icelandic chicks who just make interesting noises,
and they make it work.
Yeah,
reminds me of a mushroom trip, because that's where I got introduced to A, our good friend Ryan, and B, Sigaros. I watched. Remember on the old like Xbox like 360s and PS3s, like you put in music and it had like the visualizer. Yeah, I remember being stuck in front of a visualizer on a TV for like what felt for like 16 hours. But
you were definitely on mushrooms.
It was probably like 16 minutes listening to Sigaros. But no, I've been listening to Sigaros at work because I need to get stuff done. And then as far as podcasts, there's just one I listen to called Theories of the Third Kind. And they do all kinds of stuff from conspiracy theories to UFOs, aliens, just reptilians, all kinds of weird stuff. And they kind of break it down like, okay, this is the story that everybody knows. And then here's our thoughts, and then here's theories, and they kind of break it down in kind of like 3 segments. And like this one this week was like over the Oklahoma City bombing.
What's the conspiracy there?
I haven't listened to it yet, but they'll give like what the media portrays, and then kind of conspiracy theories behind it, and then kind of their thoughts on it. And then there's another one I've been listening to called Lacombe, Lacombe, and it's a true crime podcast about a murder that happened in like southern Louisiana, like a parish like right outside New Orleans, involving like a fire chief captain and his wife dying, and she supposedly died in a fire, but they found her shot in the head, and kind of unraveling kind of the mystery behind that. And it's really well done. It's kind of one of those I like, where it's like a long form, like 8 or 10 episode.
Is it going currently right now or all out?
Oh, it's currently week to week. So you could, I think episode 4 or 5 came out today. Mm-hmm. So if you wanted to, you could hop on and listen to the first 5.
There's a lot of good ones going that I'm sure we're listening to together, like The Good Assassin, Lost Hills. It's like where I'm caught up on all of them. So because I can binge them, dude. I can listen to like 8 hours of podcasts when I'm at work.
Yeah, so that's not really watching much. I watch heavyweights. I watch FC Dallas on Saturday. Not a lot going on. Still watching Married at First Sight. That's starting to wrap up. So not a lot going on TV or movie wise.
Well, for me, I'll go with listening first. Like I said before, I love just like terrible people and terrible moments in time, and like the macabre and the tragic always just interest me. So this one's just called Real Dictators, and it's literally just about the worst dictators and worst people of the 20th century. Most of them are...
Is Tony Perkis on there?
Not yet. Most of them are 3 to 4 parts. They're, I don't know, 30 to 45 minutes each. But it's really cool because, so each one's different, obviously. So it was Kim Jong-un, or Kim Jong-il, and then they kind of touch on Un. Joseph Stalin, Mao Zedong, Papa Doc, who I didn't know who that was, General Tojo, and right now they're on Hitler. But on each one, so it's different, and they bring in different experts. So it's not just, it's the same host, but it's not like he knows what he's talking about. He doesn't pretend. He'll be like, and now we're going to bring on this person who's a professor and it'll be like this person might be expert on Stalin, and then that's the only time you'll hear from that person. And then next episode you have other experts talking about their studies on Mao Zedong. So they do really well in research, and these people just obviously know what they're talking about. And the first part, since they're usually 3, it's kind of like their origin story of the person, like like Stalin. He wasn't even Russian. He was born in Georgia, and he got sent to these labor camps in Siberia and had to escape, and then it gets to like where he met Lenin and became a Marxist, and then in like the third one was like the Great Purge he would do and how he wiped out basically his whole country. So it goes in that order of like beginning, middle, and end. So it follows really well for all these people. Right now they're on episode 5 of Hitler, so Hitler's going to have the most, because.
And what's it called again?
Real Dictators.
Okay, I'm going to have to subscribe to that.
The next one I started today, is called Slow Burn. And it's on season 5 right now. And I put on here, each season is a different topic, like they do with Serial. So season 1 was about the Nixon and the Watergate. Season 2 is about the Clinton impeachment. Season 3 was about the Biggie and Tupac rivalry. Season 4, which I decided to start today, was about the political rise of David Duke. And David Duke was the
founder of the KKK.
He wasn't the founder. He was the grand, because he's still alive.
He was a Grand Master. Right?
He was a Grand Master. So he's not the Grand Wizard. He was a Grand Master, meaning he was the head of his state, which is from Louisiana. But he was like in the House of Representatives, and then he ran for governor. Like he had like a big political following, and they were like, there's pictures of him because he was also a neo-Nazi, and he tried to denounce it later because he wanted to come forward as like a good, but he always said like, I'm struggling for the white oppression of white people, and everything was about, just white power, but he never got off that stance. And I mean, there's pictures of him dressed up as a Nazi soldier, and then his political rivals would be like, you're going to vote for this guy as a Nazi, and he would still like, he would force runoff elections because he would do so good in these primaries. And these people are like, well, he just says what everyone else is thinking, and he stands for my values. Like, he's a fucking Nazi. So to me, that was just really, really interesting, was to hear this backstory of David Duke. And each season, I should say, is about 8 episodes, and they really dive in there. And there's all kinds of archive and audio, because his political run was really from like the 80s into like the early 90s. He had a decent run. He was a well-known person. And then the next one, they just started season 5, and it's going to be about the Iraqi war and how we got there. And that's just now in episode 1, and they come out once a week, so it's going to be 2 months before they're done with that, if they do another 8-parter. But both really good, Slow Burn and Real Dictators. Like I said, I guess I just like watching terrible people doing terrible things. And goes right into what I'm watching. And it was a podcast that you suggested to me, but then I found out they had a show about it, and it's the Candyman and the Clown.
Yeah.
And we talked about it on that lost episode that'll never see the light of day.
Yeah.
We talked about, it was about Dean Coral, who was a serial killer from Houston. He was the Candyman. He owned a candy shop, and he killed approximately, 30 boys, had them buried in a boat shed, had them buried at a lake, on a beach. And then it talks about, 1,000 miles away, there was John Wayne Gacy, and he killed like 33 young men and had them buried like in his crawl space in his house. And they're like, these two people that were separated by a great distance, but they started seeing these connections. And what the show's about is basically like there's this connection about like this child pedophile ring that was nationwide in the 60s and 70s.
And a lot of it had ties to Dallas.
Yeah, like the king, like they called him like the apex predator, and they said this was the main ring, the main hub of this was right here in Dallas. And I mean, it's just terrifying because it really just predates Jeffrey Epstein, because he had, his enterprise like run like a business, and in Candyman and the Clown, they talk about how, there was people like executives at General Motors in Detroit, and they had their own little island, which was like the what do you call it, like St. James, is what Epstein had. They were like, yeah, this shit was going on in the 70s. Like, these people, they work in secrecy, but they work together, and they're high-ranking people, and they, their target were little boys.
They had some people here in Dallas that were connected to the Boy Scouts.
Yeah, so we haven't got there yet. But if you
from the podcast,
I was gonna say
learn.
So I tried to tell Claire to watch this, and if you're not a podcast person like me and Matt, if you don't want to listen to like an 8-part podcast, I saw this it was on the ID channel, which I get on Hulu. So if this type of thing interests you, which I know a lot of couples do, like I'm sure Lauren would like to watch it, Claire wanted to watch it. If you can't put up with like an 8-hour podcast, I think it's just maybe 2 parts, or that's all it's at right now, and they're like an hour and a half each. So it's basically like a 2-part documentary, and it's terrifying, but it's so interesting. And I was gonna say I will be watching finally Mortal Kombat this Saturday because our buddy Alex, is taking me to the Mavericks game. It's our 10-year anniversary. No, I'm just kidding. He consistently beats me in fantasy football. He's beat me the last 2 times in the championship. So he's just a nice guy and feels bad. He's like, I'm going to take you to a nice Mavericks game. And, he bought these tickets like months ago. And then AD got hurt. And then LeBron got hurt. And I was like, fuck it. Let's still go. Hopefully we'll just win. We can still get to see Luka play. So I'm going up to his house Saturday night. We're going to the game. And then we're coming back. And we're watching Mortal Kombat. I already sent him a text. I was like, what we should do afterwards? And then I had to send him that gif of Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
And he's like, I was already thinking that too. It's like, that's what's up, man. So Mortal Kombat this Saturday. Can't wait.
Sounds like a good weekend.
It is going to be a pretty good weekend. I feel bad because, it's nice to get away from your family. At the same time, it's like, you feel bad.
I always feel guilty.
I feel bad, yeah. I was all
like draft weekend, I feel so guilty.
See, that I don't, because like that's my one weekend to just act like a total... just
Dude.
Motley Crue, roadie.
Yeah.
With nothing but dudes here. That's what Claire's like, I hope no girls are there. I was like, it's going to be nothing but sweaty guys and
Oh, at the draft?
Yeah, at the draft.
Oh, yeah.
It's nothing but sweaty guys and beer and cigarettes.
I think
weed.
10 out of the 12 of us are married. Maybe
Ryan.
9. Ryan, Jason, and Alex aren't married.
Alex is at least engaged, though.
Well, right. So I say 10 out of 12.
Yeah, you're right.
We're all just looking to get away from...
And about half or more have kids.
Yeah,
so
sure.
That to me is just like my weekend it's like my weekend get away with the bros.
Yeah.
And I like all but 2 of them.
Well, Lauren's going this weekend to Fredericksburg with her mom, so it'll just be me and little man at the house all weekend. So have totally opposite weekends, dude.
Yeah, that's true.
But I don't mind it. I mean, me and him we'll hang out.
I mean, really, it's just like hanging out with a smaller version of you. Y'all can watch movies and play video games.
Like
Saturday, order a pizza.
Well, Saturday he loves steak, so I'm gonna grill a couple
nice.
Steaks, and we're gonna watch FC Dallas and just chill.
You have a glass of whiskey, and he has a little glass of apple juice, so it looks the same.
Yeah,
Everything come together.
Yeah. And it's funny. He will
sip
cheers
on it.
He will cheers you. So, but you got anything else?
I think that's it.
All right.
Hank breath in I'm like eating his breath right now. It's terrible.
On that note, we're gonna wrap it up. As always, we appreciate you listening. This is gonna be out on Monday, so be looking for it in your feed on Monday. But for Matt
and I'm Andrew.
We're out.